that we can come here tonight and read with each other, because this is such an intimate setting. I think the last time I was here was a couple of years ago, and it was just as intimate, but every time I'm just wowed. I mean, your poems are really spectacular, and it's just a treat to read with you guys. So this is from a small book. If you'd like a copy, I'd be glad to give you one. It's just filled with a lot of pictures by my students. I feel like I'm holding this to the camera, but so if you're interested, it's got a lot of art in it as well. I'm going to start out with a poem in here, which has a kind of a subtitle to it. I can find it. That's earlier. All right. This is called The Trimmings, a poem for all of us who were pruned from life and felt ourselves floating to the floor forever. I've been swept along by the sea, or swept up in something I was doing. But when the great scissors of life came along and trimmed God's curly locks, I fell to the floor to get trampled, scrapped on a heap by the world because I didn't fit in, because I was a cowlick on civilization's head, a tangle, an unplanned dread, an underlying matted clump, an emotional maelstrom or detritus, if you will, seaweed on Jesus's fishhook, like unwanted waste, a new style, but already on the discount rack. Your life turned gnarly before or after societies of forsaken shampoo and conditioner tried to iron you flat, cut you back, curtail your motion, stifle your flow, zip your lip. And you decided to remove yourself from the picture, wait for that push broom, that dustpan. It's a charm, a beauty to behold, the way it brushes each edge, gathers all the living's lost, lilting protein lint. We wound ourselves around mysterious fingers and were critiqued from the story, edited, curtailed, and combed to the end of our wits, only to find ourselves collected by them. Those fine individuals, those circling bagmen, those cotton pickers who dig in the vast vacant corners of spaces like narcoleptic naps. You blink and you'll miss them, whose persistent, sometimes gentle, sometimes brusque, but determined cleaning seemed to push me together with the other trimmings, the strays, and God thanks them. The universe prevails because like kitty litter stirred into the spoiled and leftover paint in your basement, put out to the sidewalk, but having finally found that complementary blend, the smooth and the chunky, the plain and the funky, as if someone had finally found a use for us, the pressed collection of colors in the great dryer screen God handles, and made pillows for the elderly, the homeless, the alienated, the lonely, the manic, the obsessive, the compulsive, the strange, the weird, the bored, the not so ordinary. We got swept up together. Landed in the Almighty's palms, who sifted our innards with nimble fingers, all of us, those beauties, these special snowflakes, who stigmatized myopic vision, prescribed to the back of the class, until, like looking through haystacks for needles, the doctors whose wise words found one and two and two, and put one and one together, and two, and wove braids like double helix molecules conjoining my fate with others, whose laughter, whose smiles, whose loneliness and strange delight in the God of small things played go fish with Jehovah himself, and found a pair, a trio, then four, nailed all 4 acres to the table in a flash, in a flourish, in a flush, even after playing our cards so close to our chests for eternity. It was those damn doctors, that pesky virtuoso. I apologize. That pesky virtuoso whose trash truck recycled me and all the other broken toys, the ones each child wouldn't play with anymore, the wasted box of colorful plastic parts with a sign saying, "Take me," scrawled in permanent magic marker on the side, free to everyone. And he and she and they and thee found us, placed us side by side, or clicked the two of us together like little Legos, together and together, and together, until we built something, a sculpture, a structure, a bridge, any noun you can imagine, and picked us up 1,000 times to play. This is called I Am a Poem. I have a lot of students. Right now I have an elective that the kids did not elect to take. They're very reluctant poets. 7 of them are new from the Dominican Republic, actually, and do not speak a lick of English. And so we do a lot of things. I try to speak Spanish really badly.
Lift the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry?
Lift
the mic. Yes. How's that? Better?
See.
See. That's my brother. He just came to heckle me. So I have all these students. I have 41 in this really tiny classroom. I used to have a room that I could sit 65 in, and I did. I had a senior English class of 65 at one point.
Oh my God.
It's twice the legal limit.
You're
But it was sort of, I had a special ed teacher, so they justified saying, well, there are 33 for each of you, you know, and that's legal. So we kind of ran around like aerobics instructors teaching the senior project. But now I have this poetry elective, and it's 41 kids in a much smaller room that was about 95 degrees every day last week. And it has one window, but no draft, no ventilation. I don't know where I'm going with this. But we do a lot of interesting things together. And one of the things we like to do while we've been working on these typography poems is play music. And the kids introduce me to music, and so I'll introduce you to something like that. Worn like flowers in the May fields of the north, where graves grow gallantly, like low gap teeth smiles across the pastures of the past. Sprouted in the 1970s West Germantown ghetto, vacant lots where gunshots like Geppetto's Pinocchio's nose, graveyards died alongside dried Kit Kat wrappers like pinata purees. We were the teenage trappers of staccato decays back in those good old days, filled with school plays. In that haze and that phase of school days was the gold maze that just pays. Playing with mercury in the back of the old Packard garage like liquid laughter after Pickett Middle School's recess long barrage. I lived in long locks, curly blonde, rocking my pencil like Harry Potter's magical wand. We were artists first, through the summer's long thirst, digging rhymes from the times out of trash heaps, like brags were some bags full of brash tweets. Singing jingles from Kris Kringle's, singing jingles from Kris Kringle's and Sesame Streets, like ghetto wrapped in tinfoil candy bar treats. My youth was a dodgeball game between races, between white kids and black kids whose confusion showed in their little boy faces. There were Black Panthers like lions in the jungle of Germantown, and I wanted to be one of them when the shit came down. But I didn't wear the afro, so I collected lost pics, their fists raised in the air like victory sticks. Played by the Wissahickon Creek like a Native American, belying the past like I was some good Samaritan. But I learned from Mungu and Marani, my friends, that good comes in all colors even when it's with pens. So I write just in black, but a rainbow's my ends, and these wildin' out words are my Mercedes Benz. Not riches or stitches, but happiness like school, where your brain is the weapon and your community is the tool. That's the way to the solution that benefits many, not profits from poetry as worthless as pennies. You think that the trash is they feed you in, you think that trash is what they feed you in the school cafeteria, but the hot Cheetos and Doritos and barbecue Fritos are the real culprits of all your bacteria. You like Drake, a joke of a bloke who never even spoke French, and he says he's Canadian. I would take him on publicly and fill a whole stadium. Or maybe you're like Meek, who really lives up to his name. He can drive through North Philly like it's only a game. But is he to blame for the motorbike fame? I'd say that he's ruthless but toothless. He's also and no bigger man on the streets of our city, but really his rhymes can sound really shitty. He's down with Rick Ross, who says he's a boss, and maybe I'm simple, but I'm left at a loss. When I took a look at their lyrics, they both seem much too sauce. When I learned there's levels to his shit in that bit, but you know that his lines are as hot as white snow, and he flows through his nose like he knows where it goes. But when he takes it up there, and it's all just hot air, and I couldn't do better, but maybe I could get her to rhyme with the best, even if I'm clean as some zest. You could call me Ivory Soap, and I ate it once for dinner. When my mom was real bitter when she caught me cursing the babysitter. So I'm clean as a whistle, my words are like gristle. I never fought fights with anything less than a missile. But you stand there with bodyguards, and you don't stand by your words. Your pride is real pitiful, and as worthless as dropped turds. That's a mouthful. I can't even read my own stuff. So. But you know,
great.
Thank you. I'm going to read. I'm going to change the whole tone. This poem is for one of my poets. I had a poet named Tyrone Tillman, and Tyrone was really hard to figure out. He was like, I'm a rapper. I don't know about this poetry shit, but I'm like a rapper, you know. And he came in, and by the end, he's like, I'm really getting into Coffin. I'm like really getting into this poetry shit. Like, I think like I might be a poet, not like a rapper, you know, but maybe like a rapper poet, like poet rapper. And he got banned from our poetry competitions in the city because he was selling weed to many of the poets. And we were a little alarmed by this, and we were like, yeah, you can't do that. Like, so we got, you know, 6-year-olds coming into the show and grandparents and stuff. And so but he stuck it out the whole season. He kept coming and coming and coming to practice. And God, at the end of the year, I mean, he called me like his school dad. And at the end of the year, you know, we made it to the finals. We were the only non-magnet school in the city of Philadelphia out of 24 teams to make it to the finals of the Philadelphia Youth Poetry Movement Slam League championships. And we're over at University of Arts, and we didn't, you know, win or anything. But after it was over, we went into this stairwell at U Arts, and everybody's just like, wow, you know, like this was intense. I mean, there are 450 people there, and he's like, let's do the chant. We had this like team chant, and he's like, you know, everybody gets in a huddle, and we're just like, who's got your back? I got your back. Who's got your back? I got your back. And he starts crying, and I'm crying, and we're all crying. There's like 10 of us in this little stairwell, and he's like, there, man, I'm crying like a motherfucking bitch, but I love you, man. And he was just such a tough kid, you know, but he was so gentle inside. And he was unfortunately killed over the summer. And he was hit riding his bicycle home from football practice. So I read this poem for him. This is called The Hurricane. Still need my glasses. A year after I looked at you lying asleep or something like it, a slight smile in your lips, your hands crossed, your Valentine red Chuck Taylors as unscuffed as a crisp, sealed envelope on a desk. I realized your dressed-down death is a stilled tornado, laced with hurried hurricanes. Feet floating over this street corner tomb, yet landing in the west from somewhere north and back again, winding your body through stop signs and traffic lights like glancing blows, like broken fists inside my chest, laying waste to this divine king, even blowing, like emptying the sky's air into a balloon that has only a mouth but no body. And this one, his dusty dusty deeds drenched each corner of the earth, piling parts of us on rooftops and pavement, writing in us until we spill over the edges of the dented metal cans we can't put aside or inside these paper walls, these poems. They can't hide the circling trash from the storm's winds and erode thoughts like the dusty corners he delivered in the pockets of his final grip. So that some small piece is gone from what was. Somehow the moving space simply builds another mountaintop somewhere else, leaving a sharp, jagged valley where a poem was. And in this page is Tyrone. All right. I have a lot of poems this book, and if you'd like one, I'll give you one for free.
Yes, please.
And, yes, please. And I don't have time, to read every poem in here, but I'll read one that I kind of write for my kids sometimes. Teacher to the kids like a shepherd to the flock, turning words into weapons just as pointed as a Glock, writing lines in my flow like the river in my city, just as strong as any wave, but instead it's such a pity. I was walking Germantown ever since I was a kid, but I don't own the streets, just call me Little Sid. I had a brother named Dean, he was bigger than most, but just a small part of the world, so I really can't boast. If you look into the past, you'll see we're all worthwhile, but not many people study, it's just not the new style. I would recommend you work like your life depends on it, just don't sell yourself short or take your knowledge and pawn it. There's a little saying in Philly, we're made of brotherly love, but we've gotten to the point where push comes to shove, and the city that loves you back is just addicted to its crack, and we just want to get high, whether we're white or black. But the paper's getting thinner while the rich are getting fat. It's the way of the world now, and people can't change that. But if we could all vote and we knew how to read, we'd be screaming in the streets instead of just trying to breed. And each person would have value, and every man be the king, and we'd all be on the winning team and sporting a ring. Because to be the change that we want in the world was the first thing. I'd like to see us all change instead of buying some new bling. We are all on the same path, moving down the highways, moving so fast we are missing all the byways. Grown-ups can't lead the young ones because they aren't armed like the young guns. The voices of the people cry, I just don't want to see my people die. So no one even votes, can't, won't, or don't hear the notes, a melody of history, or in how we see what will be, will be. But when we vote, what will we get? A revolution? Is it a better bet? I'd rather watch it on the TV set. But the revolution will not be televised.